Welcome to the After Coffee Show with your host, Antonio Newton of the Newton Group. Today's special guest with Northwestern Mutual financial advisor, Colin Raynor.
Hi, my name is Antonio Newton, your local realtor with the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker. Welcome to today's episode of After Coffee. I have the privilege of interviewing a good friend and colleague, Colin Raynor with Northwestern Mutual. So, hey, Colin, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for the opportunity to sit here with you.
Thank you for taking the invitation. So as I mentioned, Colin is a financial planner with Northwestern Mutual. So we got a couple questions about that and how that fits in with investing and tips that you can give people, the services that you provide. But before we get to the nitty gritty and the meat, just introduce yourself to the people and tell them a little bit about who Colin is.
Absolutely. So as Antonio mentioned, my name is Colin Raynor. It's funny when Antonio called me and asked me if I wanted to come do this, I was like, absolutely. Antonio was actually the realtor that helped us get our first house. So, with that being said, I was going to take any opportunity to spend some time with him. But as he mentioned, I'm Colin Raynor. I'm with Northwestern Mutual. I serve families through financial planning, whether it's retirement planning or whether it's something as simple as insurances that they may need. My wife and I have been here in Columbia for almost 3 years since we've been married. So we are not native to Columbia, but we're native to Florence, about an hour down the road. So not too far away, but very familiar with Saturdays here in Columbia, watching the Gamecocks beat up on your Gators and all that good stuff. So it's a pleasure to be here today.
Well, good. We're glad to have you. And even though you're from Florence, home is here now.
Home is here in Columbia, hopefully from now until eternity.
The foreseeable future.
The foreseeable future.
That's right. Well, being with Northwestern Mutual, I know that's not a role that you always had or shared in. So what made you make a decision or get into that line of work or that field of financial planning?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, financial planning is not something that came natural to me.
Or most of us.
Which is why I've got a job. But I started out in a different industry, and my wife and I got married. Coming up on 3 years, and she is very much the saver. I was very much the free spirit. I like to spend, but right there at the beginning of our marriage, we actually had a interesting little financial scenario. My wife lost her job. Being young, we had some student debt. We had some car debt, auto loans, and we were looking to buy a house at the same time. We were wanting to get out of our apartment, at first place, and we kind of just decided that was it. We're going to tackle this. We're going to own our finances and own what we want to do. So we put in a lot of hard work, and we paid off our debt. We got in a really good place financially, and that really started to spark an interest in financial planning. I knew what it felt like to get that piano lift off of my shoulders. And so if I can help others with that, then, it's kind of cliche, but I'll never work a day in my life.
Right.
Being able to just serve others in the same capacity.
Right. And I mean, you do a great job. I mean, he's my financial planner, so he's helping devise the plan, because obviously with real estate, I don't have a pension or anything like that. So how can I still be able to enjoy life down the road, and really helping be strategic in that is so important.
Absolutely.
So what skills do you feel like you have personally, or what qualities do you have that help you in that area of financial planning and helping others?
Yeah, that's a really important one. In any time you look at someone that's dealing with something as personal as finances or buying a house or whatever it may be, those big life things, the number one skill set someone can have is not a skill set. It's something you're born with and you grow in, and that is honesty and integrity. To be able to be honest with someone, to tell them what they need to do, not just be reactionary because, it benefits you if you do what they want. It's easy to sell a house if somebody says, hey, I want to buy this. Right. What's hard is being an advisor, being someone that can guide them and lead them into making the right decisions. So the same thing in the financial world, having honesty and integrity, and knowing that you're serving them. Right. So that's the number one skill set that you've got to have, and that I do believe that I have, and that I serve my clients well.
You have it. I can attest to that.
Well, I appreciate it. The second thing is, I don't even know if this is a skill set, but it's, I've been there. I know what it's like from a personal standpoint. Obviously I'm not in retirement, so I can't speak to what retirement's like. But I've got family members and friends who, maybe aren't able to do the retirement they want to do, or maybe they've had health issues come up in their life. And we know these things are going to happen. And so the experiences in life, being able to translate that to serve others is a skill set that, I believe that sets me apart as well.
So what made you choose Northwestern Mutual?
That's a really good question, Antonio. What I love about Northwestern Mutual is a few things. One, their exclusivity. Not just anybody can use Northwestern products. Okay. Only people that are employed by Northwestern can use their stuff. But we also have the other side of that. The other benefit is I can broker things out. If Northwestern doesn't approve someone for something or it's not a right fit, I can utilize other companies as well.
Okay.
So that's one reason is
so it's like a one-stop shop.
Absolutely. Okay. So I don't have to fit someone into a product because that's the only product I can serve. I can fit the correct thing to the correct person, which I think is invaluable. The other thing is just financial security of a company. When you start thinking about investments, when you start thinking about insurances, life insurance, disability insurance, assets that you're growing, you want a company that is going to be there. Northwestern's been doing this since the 1800s.
Wow.
Northwestern is, a AAA rated company for a few reasons. But I know that when I stand in front of a family and I put a life insurance policy on someone or we invest some money, I know that Northwestern is financially secure enough to back up my promise 30 years down the road if it's ever needed to be used.
Crucial. So I know you mentioned about some of the different products and services. I mean, can you go into everything that's provided that you have or that you have access through to other companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first and foremost, products are there to serve a problem. You don't just see a person and sell them a product. You're there to solve a solution. And so some of those things are, early departures from the earth. We know we're going to die. We just don't know when. And so life insurance is one of those things that is a key, really a foundation. Related to houses, is a foundation to a financial plan and financial security. Another one of those is disability insurance. What happens if you wake up tomorrow and something from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, prevents you from going into work and be able to provide for your family? So that's kind of the risk-based products, disability, long-term care, life insurance, those sorts of things. Then on the flip side of that, once you've got your good defense in place, then you can play some good offense.
Okay, right.
And that's when we do the fun stuff. That's the investing. That is growing your net worth through brokerage accounts, just everyday investing so that you've got money in the market. Obviously, you've got retirement accounts, so IRAs, Roth IRAs, those sorts of things, as well as annuities, different pieces that play a role to make up a full financial plan, not just a product.
I like it. I like it a lot. Great answer. So what do you say, because we're working together and I know how I felt. So what do you say to someone who feels that they're too young or they don't have to worry about investing now? Or maybe someone says, I don't have money to invest. What advice or what counsel would you give them being on the other side? And not only that, being pretty relatively young yourself and knowing what can be the benefits, the pluses and the negatives of investing.
Absolutely. We live in the South, so I think it's appropriate to use a parable in this scenario. You got two farmers. One's praying for rain, praying for rain, praying for rain. Doesn't do anything about it other than pray. You got one farmer, the other farmer, praying for rain, praying for rain. And in the meantime, he's preparing the field. The rain's not there today, so the money may not be there today. The need may not be there today. But one day, whether it's a pay raise through your employer or through a career, or something does happen and you need some sort of life insurance or disability insurance, there will be a day that the rain comes.
Right.
It's about preparing the field in the meantime. So even if it's not, or you think you don't have the income or you don't have the need, it never hurts to at least have the conversation You can find really good advisors and planners out there that don't charge to have the conversation. We love to build the relationships so that when the time is ready, you've got somebody there that already knows who you are. They already trust you. You already trust them. And when the time's there, then it's a perfect fit to then actually enact some stuff.
Awesome. So, have you set any personal goals in terms of on the work side or professional goals, rather, that you're trying to reach for this year for 2021?
So a personal goal of mine for 2021 is I want to serve 40 families here in the Midlands. Okay. So if I'm serving 40 families in the Midlands, not all of those are going to be married.
Right.
But, typically probably 2/3 of those will be. So that's a husband and wife or head and spouse and possibly kids. We could be looking at 100 to 150 lives impacted through financial planning. So 40 families in the Midlands, and then what they learn, even if somebody in their circle doesn't become a client of mine, they may pass on good advice to people in their circle.
You still had an impact.
Exactly.
Still made a difference.
Exactly. So that's my professional goal for 2021.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask this just because obviously I'm a realtor, so some people watching that tune in or may have real estate needs or questions. So for a home buyer or a seller that's thinking about maybe getting in the market or recently been in this market, how does investing in what you do with being a financial planner at Northwestern Mutual go hand in hand with either being on the purchase side or on the selling side of a home?
Well, I think the most important thing you can do is have a plan. Imagine getting in your car, driving from Columbia to LA. Imagine not having a map.
Right. Or GPS.
Or GPS and trying to get there. You're just willy-nilly trying to follow the signs. You don't truly know when you're going to stop, what hotels are along the way. So whether you're buying a house or selling a house, I think a plan is a crucial part of that. For example, if you're selling, okay, well, if we're going to sell, what do we need to do to get ready to sell? Are there fixes that we need to do? The house that we bought had some foundation work. We had some roof issues. We had some HVAC issues. So the person selling had done a great job planning, and they were able to fix some of that stuff, while we were in the process of buying the house. Right. And if you're on the buying side, what's our plan? Are we buying a house that's going to make us house poor? Right. Are we buying a house that we can afford? How does that affect our long-term retirement goals if we can't afford to continue to give to those things because we're paying too much to a house? So it's all about a plan.
Okay, perfect. Well, that was the question that I had, and I thank you for coming. Great answers. But before we go, you want to tell them how they can reach you if they got any questions or want to talk to you about financial planning. How can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. So you can reach me at my cell phone number. That is what I use because I need people to reach me because you're reaching me for important things in your life. So the best number for that is 843-230-3582. You can also find me on Facebook. If you just look up Colin Raynor, NM, for Northwestern Mutual, you can go to my Facebook page, and I share articles all the time that are relevant to buying homes or relevant to investing in retirement and all of these different aspects of financial planning.
Awesome. Well, Colin, I want to thank you so much, my friend, for coming by today and taking time out of your busy schedule to sit with me and be interviewed. And I appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Antonio.
You're welcome. So thank you all for watching today's episode of After Coffee. Once again, I'd like to thank our special guest, Colin Raynor, and I'm your host, Antonio Newton with the Newton Group. So if you have any questions and need to reach Colin, he left his information. I can get in touch with him, so feel free to reach out. And until next time, thank you so much.
You've been watching After Coffee with Antonio Newton of the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker. After Coffee is a hyperlocal show interviewing hyperlocal businesses and people in the greater Columbia area. After Coffee, it's love hyperlocally.